The first sound I heard that morning wasn't birds or the rumble of trash trucks. It was the unmistakable metallic clatter of someone trying to rip a flagpole out of the ground. I rolled out of bed, heart already thumping, and peeked through the blinds. There she was, Karen, queen of the HOA, housecoat flapping, slippers in the dirt, yanking my high-band antenna like she was in the Olympic shot. Put finals. If you ever want to see something both tragic and hilarious at 6 in the morning, just picture your neighbor face-planting into your flower bed, clutching a busted antenna base like a trophy. That was my wake-up call. No coffee, no warning, just pure HOA chaos before sunrise. And I knew right then, this wasn't just another passive-aggressive note on the mailbox. This was about to go nuclear. Did I run out, yelling? Nope. Too easy. I grabbed my phone, snapped a dozen pictures, and let her stew, muttering about community standards and ugly monstrosities. She didn't have a clue I was watching. The thing is, that antenna wasn't just some eyesore. It was part of a research project, weather signals and amateur radio, the kind of tech that makes people like Karen nervous. Because they can't understand it, can't control it, so naturally, they want it gone. She stormed up to me, waving the bent metal like a war banner. Your ugly stick is down. You're welcome. All I could do was smirk. Karen, you just trespassed and vandalized my property before breakfast. That's some world-class efficiency. She was immune to sarcasm, just plopped the antenna on my driveway, insisting she was enforcing the rules, rattling off HOA codes like she was reading from the Book of Revelations. Section 14, subsection C. No unauthorized telecommunications. I told her the only authority she had was the power to write angry newsletters in Comic Sans, but her face just got redder. She started accusing me of spying, claiming I was eavesdropping on the whole neighborhood, which was rich, considering she'd just destroyed a device designed to record weather, not dirty laundry. She loved the word escalate. If you don't comply, I'll escalate this. And with that, she stormed off, dragging the antenna behind her. Neighbors peeked through curtains, watching like it was free HBO. By noon, she'd taped up flyers all over the block. Warning: suspicious surveillance equipment removed for community safety. I actually laughed reading it. If only she knew the antenna logged tampering events and sent error pings to the university group I was working with. Now, there'd be a nice little blip on their map. Suburban Sabotage, Karen Edition. She struck again at dinner, tossing the antenna at my door and announcing, "This is evidence. If you replace it, I'll file an injunction." And just as she finished, 2 unmarked black SUVs rolled up, the kind with more antennas than a radio station. Karen's face blanched. 2 men stepped out. Badges flashed. One said, "Ma'am, we need to speak with you about that equipment." Karen stammered, "This is community property enforcement." The agent's face didn't even twitch. "That's federal property you're holding. Please put it down." The clatter echoed as Karen dropped the antenna like it was radioactive. They led her inside, neighbors filming from behind hedges, half the block, rubbernecking as Karen shuffled into her house, her robe stained, dignity leaking out with every step. I sat on my porch with a coffee, watching the circus unfold, thinking, yeah, you want it. Escalation, Karen? Buckle up. You know what I mean? An hour later, she came storming out, shrieking about rights, property, spies, jabbing her finger at me, demanding the FBI arrest me for dangerous surveillance. The agent just asked me, calm as can be, "Can you explain the purpose of your equipment?" I gave him the facts, weather data, amateur radio, licensed, all above board. Karen, not to be outdone, insisted I was working for foreigners with spies, which would have been funnier if it wasn't so desperate. Even the neighbors rolled their eyes. The agents checked my garage, found nothing but dust and cables. Karen lunged for some coaxial wire like she'd found the smoking gun. "See? Wires." The agent deadpanned. "That's standard cable, ma'am." Karen fumed. But the agents left, promising to follow up. That night, Karen was outside with a flashlight, prowling my yard, claiming to chase raccoons but really hunting for more evidence. I finally stepped out, letting her flashlight beam hit me square in the chest. "Lose something?" I asked. She squeaked and scampered off, her crusader spirit reduced to a cartoon villain tiptoeing in bunny slippers. The next day, Every mailbox was stuffed with another Karen screed, this time accusing me of running a spy ring. Half the neighbors laughed, the other half whispered, and then the FBI came back. Not for me, for Karen. See, she'd filed so many wild reports about me intercepting calls and broadcasting coded messages that the Bureau had to check if she was actually a problem herself. They led her away for questioning. Rumors flew. Some said she was in cuffs. Some claimed she screamed about Russian satellites. But the reality was more humiliating. Released with a warning. Neighborhood reputation in shambles. But Karen doesn't retreat. She reloads. 2 days later, she called an emergency HOA meeting, not in her robe this time, but a power blazer, summoning everyone like a war council. Her plan? Change the bylaws so she could rip out any suspicious object with a board vote. My neighbor Mark called her out. Aren't you just making rules to cover what you already did? And Karen's smile froze. The room broke into laughter when she presented her evidence. Amazon receipts, weather maps, and a ham radio manual with spy codes scribbled in crayon. Her bylaw amendment tanked, 21-3. That night, Karen's flyers painted me as a villain, bribing the FBI, blackmailing neighbors, even a sketch of my house labeled Enemy Outpost. The kicker? One flyer ended up in the hands of the FBI agent who'd already warned her. Another visit, another warning, fraudulent documents, false claims, she was running out of rope. But Karen didn't fold. She doubled down, ordering compliance sweeps, taping citations to doors, my violations, including a mailbox that leaned 2 degrees. I posted mine in the group chat with the caption, "Anyone else get one from Karen's fantasy police?" It was the last straw for most folks. And that's when the feds returned. Black SUVs, no more patience. Fraudulent documents with fabricated seals are not within your rights, the agent told her. The street went electric. Neighbors murmured about recall votes. Pam looked ready to faint. Gerald disappeared. And the 2 older board members quit. Karen's flyers littered the neighborhood like Cold War propaganda, her paranoia finally radicalizing the resistance she feared. Her sabotage ramped up. Mailboxes, sprinklers, even my power got cut. Each time, I documented everything, building a file thick enough for an FBI case study. Neighbors started to resist, checking yards, sharing screenshots. Karen, blind to her own undoing, kept pushing. One night, she marched across the street, war maps in hand, shouting, "You're poisoning this community." As if on cue, a white van pulled up, Federal Communications techs. They'd been flagged by her repeated, contradictory calls. Their verdict? "You're the interference, ma'am." That stung. It all came to a head when Karen's latest stunt, loudspeakers blaring warnings, spotlights sweeping. My house was interrupted by a phalanx of federal SUVs. The agents rolled in, collected Karen, and the neighborhood let out a collective sigh. For the first time in months, kids played in driveways. Without fear, neighbors talked on porches. The air felt lighter. Karen came back, sure, with lawyers and lawsuits, trying to recast herself as the martyr, but every hearing only exposed her. Deeper, fabricated evidence, courtroom meltdowns, the whole drama immortalized in transcripts. In the end, she wasn't deposed by force, but by her own hand, stripped of her presidency. Flyers stuffed in trash cans, the HOA left to pick up the pieces. And I just kept my records, kept my calm, let the world see who she really was. Because sometimes, justice doesn't look like a courtroom victory or a parade. It looks like a tyrant screaming into the void, and a cul-de-sac finally finding its peace. So what do you think? Was I in the right? Was Karen just misunderstood? Or did she really cross every line? Drop your take in the comments. I want to hear, where do you draw the line between community standards and pure madness? Hit that like if you've ever dealt with an HOA nightmare, and share if you think the neighborhood deserves better.